Yeah, thank you for joining on this interview, Pastor Raveen. So I'm Hannah Han. So the reason I do the interview is because I thought you were an outstanding diaspora missionary in South Korea. So would you just explain your missionary journey and also your diaspora missions among the people?
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. It's my honor to be interviewed. I'm Pastor Raveen. I'm from India actually, but I came to Korea in 2012. It's been like 14 years already in Korea. So the diaspora ministry journey began when I realized that I have an international call to
Mm-hmm.
serve the global community. So
Mm-hmm.
um, the mission that I've been doing in Korea actually is an international church.
Mm-hmm.
I have been serving the community for about 23 nations. So you
Mm-hmm.
could see the picture of a global church in our community. I've been
Mm-hmm.
serving as a lead pastor for 9 years. And well, I cannot particularly say like I have one diaspora community as we
Mm-hmm.
have more than 23 nations. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, that call has come to me when I realized that God has called me to reach out
Mm-hmm.
different nations than just one nation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's how my journey has begun for diaspora ministry
Mm-hmm.
in Korea specifically.
Huh. So, who are those people? Because you said the 23 nationalities,
That's
the
right.
main groups, or maybe the majority, or maybe the minor groups. Would you just explain who are those people? Like, as you know, like South Korea, we have E7, E9, or G1 visa type, like different. So, who are the main groups?
Right. So the main groups that I've been serving are, I would say, about 50% would be international students, and
Mm-hmm.
then about 10% would be academy teachers. They come from US and UK,
Uh-huh.
Brazil, different countries. And
Mm-hmm.
we also have those who work for Samsung with the E7 professional visa. And
Uh-huh.
of course, the students, most of them come from African continent, like different countries from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have few from China. We have few from Brazil. We have from Canada, USA, and also a few from UK, and the two families from Australia as well. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, yes, you can see the black picture in our community because majority of them are students, and
Mm-hmm.
like they are from Cameroon, Tanzania, Cambodia, and DRC, and we also have well, I'm not sure if I mentioned that the country's name, like Nigeria, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I cannot recollect all the nations, but well,
Uh-huh.
you would see the black picture, but at the same time you can see
Mm-hmm.
different nations combined. We also have a few families
Mm-hmm.
from India. They serve, actually, they're working in Samsung. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but our church do not have any factory workers at the moment, but we would be
Uh-huh.
focusing on them as well. But most of members are either they're on a professional visa or a student visa. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
context where our community is located.
Oh, so I can see like there must be some challenges because you have all the different nationalities.
Mhm.
And what about your language barriers? Because in between those people, maybe if you speak English, uh I think Western country, like if they have the original background from there, then they understand. But what about like the other groups? So would you just explain some of the opportunities or some challenges you face?
Well, when it comes to language, we don't really have any challenges because
Mm,
everyone speaks fluent English. As I said, 50% of them are students. They are pursuing their English track.
mm-hmm,
So they are native speakers, in fact, although they have
mm-hmm,
English as their second language, but most
mm-hmm,
of them do communicate. And
mm-hmm,
well, we could face language problem if the members are from Asian nations. Well, I'm not saying
uh-huh,
that they don't speak, but that's the context we have in Korea. Like
mm-hmm,
from Vietnam, China, and
uh-huh,
Cambodia, you see
uh-huh,
some of the nations where they don't speak English. When they come to Korea, they don't speak English, rather, they're fluent in Korean language.
mm-hmm,
So for such communities, definitely it will be language challenge. So it would be hard for them to join an international church. But whereas in my situation, you could see most of us, like 100%, they speak English. So we don't have language problem at our church because our
Uh-huh.
church is English speaking international church.
Uh-huh.
The challenges that we have in the ministry would be with the community, given that 50 to 60% are international students. So I call it like our church is a church on the move, like a people on the
Uh-huh.
move. So our church is on the move. Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
you get to see new members once in every year. Like sometimes even every 6 months, you see people moving around because they're
Mm-hmm.
done with their education or they have to go as exchange students or they're going back to their countries.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see the stable membership in international church in Korea.
Uh-uh.
So that's the
Mm-hmm.
context where you have. So when you are doing a diaspora missions in Korea, it would
Mm-hmm.
be hard for you to have a stabilized membership. Well, there are some who
Mm-hmm.
wants to settle down, but given
Mm-hmm.
the a lot of troubles that migrants or experts going through in Korea, most
Mm-hmm.
of them they don't stay more than 5 years. Only those who are
Mm-hmm.
committed and decided to live in Korea, they stay. But those who are actually moving into Korea, the average time as per the surveys that we have 3 to 5 years, and then they want to go back to their own countries.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the challenges we really face in our ministry. But it's amazing to see that foreigners, those who come to Korea, they're responding to the gospel because every Saturday we go for evangelism. That's the core backbone for a church's growth. And also, um, I would also say that besides these things, we don't really see much of challenges for ministries in Korea. So
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely focus on one particular point that would be stabilizing the membership. That's very hard, and people respond. Because Korea has become a hub in Asia for internationals. Like they choose to come to Korea because safety, K-pop, drama, all the cultures that we have. We're expecting by 2030 it would grow to 5
Mm-hmm.
million. For now, we are 2.6 million
Mm-hmm.
registered migrants in Korea, but very few years it would hit to 5 or 6 million. That's the expectation, and that's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the importance of the diaspora missions are really emphasized like among those Korean ministers? What do you think of the importance? Like, because as you perceive, then like, what about the local missionaries or local pastors? How they think about the importance of the diaspora missions?
Well, well, for this question, it's a bit hard to answer, but because there are two ways to see it, from inside voice and outsider's voice. So since I'm a foreigner and I'm as an international minister in Korea, what
Mm-hmm.
what I believe and what I observe is that most of the Korean churches are not really open to diaspora or international ministries yet. I'm not saying like they're completely closed, but they are coming up. But if you see
Mm-hmm.
within Korean churches, there are two types of international ministries, if you put it as one pie.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be like a dependent churches, which are run by or controlled by the mega churches, which I term it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like financially they are supported by the elders body and the entire Korean church. So, well, they call them like an EM, which would be English ministry. They don't even
Mm-hmm.
call it like an English church, as long as you have a
Mm-hmm.
vision to change the name. Why? Because they consider that EM mostly a place where Korean kids can learn English, or
Oh.
or or like the elders or elderness, you know, like the members that could come and spend some time and experience what it means, international community. But the seriousness of bringing migrants into EM and reaching them with the gospel, that
Mm-hmm.
seriousness is still to come. Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
it has begun. That's what I could say.
Mm-hmm.
It has begun
Mm-hmm.
because there are so many churches around Korea.
Mm-hmm.
They have started already
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Busan, in Seoul, and all.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing it. So I don't say like they didn't. They're not. No, they are doing it, but I believe it's gonna take a time more because the seriousness and the importance of international ministry is yet to be viewed by the senior pastors, especially the mega church pastors. They do have EM, but EM is basically considered as English ministry to train the Korean churches, Korean kids into English. But this will also change if the pastor who is in charge for that particular department. For example, when I went to the church I served for 9 years, they just focused on only like a kids ministry. That's where I stepped in, and we have to move it to missions department and education department, and we had to I had to, by God's grace, we're able to develop into international church. We're able to bring about 70 registered members, and we had around 2,000 visitors in the span of 9 years. So it all happened because if the pastor is not really careful or concerned about the picture or the call of international ministries in Korean churches, it will be a EM for children. And there is the other type of English churches in Korea, which is independent. So there are a few churches in Korea. They are like English churches. So they don't depend on any Korean church here in Korea. Rather, they have the support from America and all. But unfortunately, one of the weak points that I observe as international pastor is that most of these churches now, by God's grace, they're changing, but earlier, like 2, 3 years ago, they're pretty much one race focused in sense, although they call it English church or international church, but either they have the Korean Americans or Korean communities, or those who went to abroad came back, so they're serving. But you don't see the picture, the global picture, So that's one thing we need to work on that in Korea, to have many international churches as well. And there are a few other ministries as well, like Onuri Church in Korea. They have M centers, which is like a mission center. So what they do, they bring a pastor from particular community and gather all the community. For example, Nepal M Center, Indian M Center, Vietnamese M Center, and they're doing amazing. They're doing amazing because all those pastors are my friends, those who studied at Acts. So Nepali community, they're growing 200, 300 people. They gather every week. They're amazing. So this is where currently the Korean church is. So to summarize in one point, Korean senior pastors need to realize the importance of international ministry because Korea is opening up. Before too late, they need to begin the real international churches.
Yeah, thank you. I can say that like the reason why we've got to proceed this diaspora mission is because just like you, like diaspora missionary and pastor, you as a pioneer to initiate this very important ministry in South Korea and cultivate the hard hard work. So I really appreciate yeah, you've been doing very well, and thank you for your patience, and thank you for the participation. Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much.
we'll
Really
dismiss.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Pastor Mark, thank you for joining the interview. So I really appreciate your participation. So I know that you are a diaspora and working in Philippines, but originally coming from India. Would you introduce yourself?
Yep, I am from India and serving God in the Philippines since 2010 among the Hindus and Sikh diaspora. Among the people group called the Sindhi people group, those who are the one of the least outreach people group in the world, and the other one is Punjabi people group, who are largely circulated around the world, and a majority of Indian population here in the Philippines are Sikh, Punjabis. So among these two people groups and these two religious groups, I'm reaching out and making disciples. And we are thanking God that God is wonderfully working among this diaspora community.
Oh, wow, thank you. It's amazing. So like I'd like to know about your journey, like how you become a diaspora, like since when?
When I was studying for my Master's of Theology in South Korea, one of the subjects that I learned was diaspora. and it was the first time ever introduced in a seminary, and that was taught. And when I learned about the diaspora community, I was already involved in ministering to the diaspora community in South Korea. The foreigners who were there, the church that was like an umbrella for the theological seminary where I was studying. The church itself was providing service for all the different nationalities. And when I saw that the diaspora ministry is quite effective, then just reaching them out in their own countries, God has put that passion in my heart, that it is good to reach out to diaspora community, and because they are out of their country and they are one of the influencing people in their own nation, and their words has weight in their own country. So if we reach them out over here, then we are not only reaching them here, but also we're reaching them out, their family members and their friends back in their local countries. So that's where I have decided through my theological seminary studies and also observing the situations actually involving among the diaspora community in South Korea.
Oh, so you were in South Korea, but now in Philippines. So, would you also give me some explanation about your community in Philippines? So, who are the people coming to your community? Only the Indians or the other Asians?
There are South Asian community are largely increasing in the Philippines. When I came here, I saw the Arab diaspora, the African diaspora, then the Chinese diaspora, then Taiwanese diaspora, and Indian, and most of the Southeast Asian countries diaspora. They are coming over here for the ease of business. So these are the growing diaspora community we can see in the Philippines. Excuse me. Yeah.
Oh, I think there was a disconnection. Maybe we should just edit this part, but no worries. So you saw the many ethnic groups from all the different nationalities. So mainly when you do your ministry with the diaspora, like doing the diaspora missions, so who are those main groups and why that's so important in your context?
Okay, the main diaspora community that I'm ministering is, as I told you earlier, they are the Indian Sindhi people group diaspora. Those who are largely, I mean, they have left their countries during the partition, and they are settled in different parts of the world. And they left the country before the partition because they didn't want to become Muslims, but they want to remain as Hindus. And these are one of the least outreach people group. But the Lord is working in this among this diaspora community, and they are the Sindhi Hindu diaspora. And now many from this community are coming to Christ. And the other diaspora community are the Sikh in the religion, and also they are the Punjabi in the people group. So these people are also very important because they are one of the largest migrated people from India to different parts of the world. If we see them in Canada, they are huge. When we see them in America, they are huge. Australia, they are huge. So this Punjabi community is really settled in different parts, including Philippines. And why they're important is they are very much in a part of influencing the local context. You see the Canadian government is very much involved, influenced by the Punjabi community. So they can be too much. They can be very much influensive. At the same time, they are very much of in social work, in charity. So when we give them the gospel, they will truly spread the gospel faster than anyone else. And that's what we are seeing here in the Philippines. The Punjabi church is growing faster because they are very much outgoing, and they are bringing the gospel to the people. And when they come here and they hear the gospel, they share their testimony to the people there in Canada, they're in US, they're in India, wherever their friends, their family members are, they share their experience with Christ. So that's why these two people groups I feel very important, and that's where I'm concentrating, reaching them out and making disciples.
I think that's the reason why you think that's a great opportunity as a diaspora, because they're coming as a migrant and also providing some works. But at the same time, God is expanding His kingdom through them, right? So, what are the challenges, and if there are any other opportunities, then you can actually extend your diaspora missions. So can you explain like what are the other opportunities with the diaspora missions and also some of the challenges?
Opportunities are, they are religious, but they do not know who is the real God. Number one, theologically. And socially, they come here and do the business, but they are not allowed to register their business as a foreigner. They have to tie up with local citizen. And that's where they face so many problems. And when they are facing the problems, coming into them, legally helping them, that becomes an opportunity. Another opportunity that we have is they are very receptive. They are receptive. Some are very, very they restrict, but many are receptive and they love to have prayer. And many have a divided family. Half of their family lives in India, they live in here. So they have many different social problems. So in that problems become an opportunity for us. And an opportunity is that we can they miss their home country, and they when we facilitate them with their food of their own culture and songs, music in their own culture, they feel that becomes an opportunity for us. During the national occasion and the religious occasion, when we utilize those, that becomes an opportunity to share the gospel. But the challenges are all of them come here as a business people, and they are extremely busy. And finding time to sit down with them and sharing gospel with them is one of the great challenges. And number two, many of them have their families here. And also today, because of the technology, all the family members are connected. And everybody is putting things on the Facebook and social media. So what happens is when one of their church members or friends finds out that they are going to the church or something, there is a social pressure. That's one of the challenges that we face. And another challenge is from the ministry perspective, it becomes hard for us to produce materials, printed materials and other materials to use them as an strategy for literature, other things for the ministry. That becomes an challenge. The main other challenge is since there are large number of these people group are here, one or two people to minister is difficult. We need more workers. But when we try to invite workers from India, they ask how much I'll be getting. Whereas this ministry has to be completely sacrificial and pioneering. So the challenge is to find out the passionate, pioneering person who can come and reach out to these people. So these are some of the challenges practically we are facing these days.
Thank you for your insight, and also it was really helpful because there are so many diaspora missionaries, and especially you've been there like how long you've been there in Philippines?
It's almost 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years. So like, yeah, I'm so grateful. Thank you for all your ministry, and I really appreciate and I bless your ministry, and thank you again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.